guys, Christina Nichols for the Arpa International Film Festival with recipient of the Rising Star Award, David. David, pronounce your last name for me.
Sure, it's Dastmalchian, and the trick is if you had a small chin, you'd say Dastmalchian, so Dastmalchian, David Dastmalchian.
With David Dastmalchian. Oh, that's a great way.
That's my little phonetic tool, yeah.
David, you've had quite a journey already in your career. What was it like overcoming some of your earlier obstacles to get to where you are today?
It was overcoming, for me, I struggled with homelessness, with addiction, and depression, and fighting through those battles with the help of my family, my community, my friends, people that love me, and people that I didn't even know who were willing to help give me a hand when I needed it, has added such a layer of beautiful icing to the cake that is now getting to do something that I love for a living every day, having a family of my own and getting to look at them every day. And I think it's one of the sad things in life is people that have to go through struggles, suffering, pain, torment, but when they're overcome, or when we can come together and help people come through that, it makes the moments in life that are so beautiful, like doing a job you love, or having a family you love, or being at the Egyptian Theater for an awesome festival award. It just makes it so much more valuable,
And you wrote Animals,
yes,
which was also based
very
on
much
some of your
inspired by, yes, I wrote Animals. I didn't want to write a biopic. I wanted to write a cohesive narrative. So I created a story, but it was all inspired by, my experience with both addiction and love. I wanted to write a love story, and I think that it's a great battle for two people who are deeply in love with one another to overcome, is knowing when do you stick together and keep fighting for your relationship, and when do you have to separate to take care of yourself, and hope that someday maybe your paths will cross again. And that's one of the joys of independent filmmaking, is you can wrestle with really complex questions without necessarily having to answer them. You can just offer your voice to them, and I had a lot of freedom because I worked with such an awesome team on making it.
Now, it's great you've had your own independent film experience, but you've also worked on massive blockbusters like Ant-Man that
Yes.
just came out. What was that like?
It was a dream. I talk about it, I smile. I was a little kid in a candy store, I grew up reading comic books religiously. I just found some old photos of me in 6th grade hiding at summer camp, reading my comic books under the covers that a friend took. So I have been so blessed and so fortunate that as an adult, going to work sometimes for me means getting to be on the set of these incredible productions where they're bringing some of my favorite stories and heroes to life. I did so with the DC world, and now I'm a part of the Marvel world. It's a dream. And shooting Ant-Man was such a blast because it's a very funny movie. They embraced a lot of the comedy in that in that world, and I had my wife and my son with me. He was newborn last year when we were shooting, and I brought him to set. I got to show my little boy, a giant tank exploding through the walls of PIM Laboratories. It was so cool.
And then you also got to play, like you mentioned, you've had both Marvel and DC experiences,
yes.
playing the henchman next to Joker. What?
Yep. I know, that was insane.
Was
that was the first time I'd been on a film set, and I was a kid in a sense. I was really, my acting career was, I had been clean for a long time, and I had gotten my life together, and I was living in Chicago, and I started doing theater, then commercials, and I had this opportunity to be in this film, to audition for this film, which led to being in it, and I would stand as close as I am to you right now to one of the greatest actors of our time, and many other ones like Gary Oldman and Aaron Eckhart and Maggie, and my goodness, the cast was so insanely good, but Heath especially was just, to me, an icon, a hero, and one of the kindest artists that I ever worked with. And then the director, of course, is one of our greatest living directors, and so I was like a fish out of water. I was terrified, but I had a blast.
Do you have any specific stories that you can share with us, especially working that close to Heath?
Yeah,
because so many people are just, his performance and that, and
it was a game-changing performance. It lit up, I think, the cinematic landscape in such a beautiful, bright way, and he had a very good sense of humor. He was very funny, and I don't know why I was so bold to say this, but one of the first days we were shooting together, you stand around a lot. You do this a lot. And we had music in common, so we're talking about music, talking about bands that we like, talking about Chicago. I was like, how do you like Chicago? It's cool. Blah, blah. And we're drinking coffees. And I said, Heath, I gotta tell you, when I found out that you were going to be the Joker, I thought, like, wow, that's a really bad idea. And he goes, yeah, I thought that too. And then we both started laughing, and I was like, I'm just kidding. He's like, no, I really thought that. And from then on, we had a pretty fun sense of humor on set. And it's a great thing I think people should know about when I was watching him on set. He wasn't this tormented, troubled artist trying to become this character. He was a true craftsman. We would be talking like we're talking now, and then when it was time for him to go do his scenes, he became what he needed to become. And he was having a lot of fun.
That's really good to hear.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And has there been a character that you've played that you found the most challenging, or is there a character that you're dying to play in the future?
Character that I'm dying to play, well, in my life goals, I've always wanted to go toe-to-toe with 007. I would love to be, in whatever incarnation that is created at some point, I'd love the opportunity to go in and fight for a role as a villain of James Bond.
Well, it's out there in the world now.
Yeah, you guys know now, so if you're watching, future James Bond producers. And then I always wanted to play the Moon Knight. He's a Marvel character. I don't know if now that I'm a part of the Marvel world, I can go after any other roles, or if they'd even ever make it, because he's a smaller, kind of independent character. But man, he's so cool. He's like the Batman of the Marvel world, you know? He's really cool. Yeah, Moon Knight.
I love my superheroes.
Yeah, me too. I still do. I'm a grown man with a little child, and yet I'm just as geeked out about my comic books as ever.
Well, congratulations
Thanks.
on your Rising Star Award.
Thank you.
Do you have advice for actors who are watching and, you know?
The only, because it's so specific to people, to individuals, but the general advice is you can't give up on your dreams. You have to believe in yourself before anyone else is going to believe in you. And you have to look for every opportunity you can to act. When I first moved to Los Angeles 4.5 years ago, I was, meeting and going to audition for anything from unpaid short films to, unpaid independent films, just trying to get the opportunity to get in front of a camera and be on set and work with people who love film. And through that, I met so many of the people that I'll collaborate with for the rest of my life.